Happy evening, everybody.
Happy evening, Kishore.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, let me start up this session today. Always, everywhere, in India, we see, hardly women's coming up, in various positions. Like, see, for example, I always admire Kiran Bedi IPS or my former Chief Minister Jayalalitha, and these are some of the women where I've admired because it's very hard in India where a woman can come up very quickly because what are the challenges they face, that is something which is very very important socially, personally, family, everything, in all aspects. Because in India the biggest problem is, if suppose if a woman goes and complains, saying that, that boy, this I'm seeing it everywhere in my college or in my street or in my locality, in my society. If a girl goes and complains to the parents that the boy, he misbehaved with me, or he's trying to, tease me, the first thing the parents, they ask the girl is, what did you do? They try to, corner the girl. See, that is the biggest mistake. The society, they don't try to, because this is what I even tell my students. Instead of telling, because normally now it's becoming a fashion, you dress in this way so that we don't see you. You better, start looking it in a better way. That is what is very very important. Because only when a woman is happy, the home is happy. Only when the woman is happy, this country is also going to be happy. Friends, let me tell you all a very small story, okay, and then let's start it. See, there was a long ago, this was a very long time back, okay, it's a fictional story. Two kings, they had a war between each of them, they both had a war. Naturally, one person has to win the war and one person has to lose the war. Immediately, the king who won the war, he gave another quid pro quo to the king who has lost the war. He said, see, I'm ready to give back everything to you, but just on one condition. I'm in love with a girl, okay? The girl has asked me a question, and I want you to answer the question. When you answer the question, I'll just give back everything, your kingdom, everything, whatever I've taken from you, I'll be giving back to you. So immediately the king who has lost the war, he asked him, what is the question? He said, when can a woman be happy in her life? That is the question. You have to get me the answer. The lost king said, the king who lost the war, he said, just give me 2 days of time. I'll find out the answer. So he just went everywhere, everywhere he was just going around asking this question. Nobody was able to answer this question. Immediately there was an old man, he was crossing by that side. He said, can you see a mountain over there? Yeah, the top of the mountain. There is an old lady, not old lady, she's a witch or evil witch or whatever it is. I don't know what you say in Hindi. मुझे हिंदी में नहीं जानते हैं. Okay, so there is one lady, she can answer that question. So immediately this king climbed the mountain and he went up and he saw a witch. She was very horrifying, that witch. You all know how a witch normally looks, with the loosened hair, with the big eyes, black things, everything. It was very different. So this king was very horrified, and he went closer to her with a, with a scary mood and everything. And he just asked her, see, this is the, he just narrated her everything. See, I lost the war, and today I want to, I want to, get back everything. But, the king who won, me, he wants to know an answer for this, so that he will marry that girl and I will get back my kingdom. So immediately the witch asked a question. Okay, you are going to get back your kingdom, and that fellow is going to get the girl whom he loves. Now the question is, what am I going to get? What is my benefit? This king suddenly he went back by surprise. He asked, okay, what do you want? That the witch said, you look so smart, my dear prince. Okay, I want to marry you. Only when I marry you, I'm going to tell the answer. This king, without even hesitating, because he wants the kingdom. He said, yes, you tell me the answer, and tomorrow morning is the marriage. He said, okay. And immediately the witch gave the answer. When all when the women is always happy is very, that is the time she always feel happy. She has to take the decisions on her own on certain things. That is the time where she becomes very happy. You go tell this to that king, you will get everything back. He went and said that he told the king, and that king told to his girlfriend or lover or whatever it is. That lover was so impressed, and she said, I'm going to marry you. And this king also said, I'll give back you the kingdom. Fine, go take it. And he took the kingdom. So he's a king, so he has to keep up the word. Next day morning, he went to the mountain to marry that witch. Suddenly, he saw a very beautiful woman, a pretty woman angel. Okay, he saw this angel, and he was surprised, and he was so impressed, and he fell in love at first sight. So he asked that woman, "Who are you?" Yesterday, I saw evil witch, sitting over here, and you are such a pretty woman. Who are you? That pretty woman said, see, I am the witch yesterday you spoke. Today I got converted into a pretty woman. He was surprised. Oh, you look so beautiful. Then now let's get married. Now the witch said, no, no, now again there's another condition, because it's very hard to impress women sometime also. Okay. So immediately what happened is, this witch said, hey, come on, there is two options. Now, when we both go together after marriage, in front of everybody, I look like a witch. But inside the house, I look like a pretty angel. This is option number one. Now, the second option is, in front of everybody, I may look like a pretty angel, but inside the room, with you, when I'm with you, I look like a witch. These are the two options for you. So which option are you going to choose? He asked the king. The king very beautifully answered, this is a decision which a woman has to take by herself. You are a woman and you love to take a decision by yourself. So you take this decision by yourself, and any decision, I'll obey it, I'll marry you. Immediately the witch said, when you started respecting me, a woman, you started respecting him. Hereafter, all throughout my life, I'll stay with you as an angel. And therefore, they both got married. They lived happily ever after. So this is the story. So my dear friends, this is what is very, very important in today's life, because most of the places where women are being, they are being stopped. There's so much of, restrictions, socially, personally, in official life, everywhere they've got a lot of restrictions. But these restrictions has to be broken by each and every one of us, because every time somewhere or something keeps coming. So these things has to be broken. What are the other challenges? The main challenges, which is coronavirus. It's something a pandemic, but I would not say that is a pandemic. There is a trauma virus. Trauma. Always women have got a big trauma. The biggest trauma is squash. Okay, prevention of sexual harassment. People, the women, everywhere they get sexually harassed, whether let it be bus or let it be at anywhere in social places, workplaces. Workplaces is the biggest challenge, and most of them, they don't want to bring it out, because as I earlier pointed out, the biggest problem is the society always puts the pressure on the women. What did you do? How did you know? When some girl says that boy is continuously seeing me, hey, wow, you would have saw him, you saw him, that's why he's seeing you. So these kinds of pressure are coming on. So let us all work together, and let us all make sure how we bring this out. That's very, very important. So let me take you all inside to the posh session. So ladies and no, okay, only ladies, all of you, welcome to the posh. Over to you, Yashodai. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Kishore, for that wonderful story. That was really impressive, and all of us liked it so much. Now, let me introduce our forum. We are part of First Step Institute. It's a one-year-old training company that is mainly concentrating on POSH and POXO. And I have 8 beautiful trainers who are POSH consultants from various part of cities. Various cities across India. That's really great to have all of you here in this Sunday evening to participate in this event. So I'll let you all introduce yourself. And before that, there would be 2 moderators who are with us today to handle the entire flow. So we have first Ms. Raina Khatri Tandon, who is a human rights social activist and POSH and POXO enabler. She's CEO of Right to Rise, and she's also the CEO of Act to Inspire. She's founder of RKT Foundation Aspen, and she's working towards the upliftment of women, children, and also takes lots of initiative towards maintaining gender sensitization and inclusiveness. She has received the awards like UN Rex Karmveer Awardee for the year 2019, and she's also uh, represented as a speaker in UN World Women Summit that was held internationally into 2020, and she has been enabling lots of lives since past 22 years. It's a pleasure to have you with us, Raina.
Thank you so much, Yashodai, and it's an honor to be here at the platform of First Step with such wonderful, acclaimed trainers and all knowledgeable experts. Thank you very much for honoring me. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Shaya. Next moderator is going to be Miss Manju Matthew, and she was an advocate. In fact, she was the first female advocate to be in the panel of lawyers for Domestic Violence Act cases way back in 2008. In fact, in that year, nobody took the domestic violence cases so seriously. But then there was our Manju who made it a point that yes, domestic violence is also a serious kind of offense that's happening to ladies very silently. And she saw to it that the entire Tamil Nadu was awakened to this fact that yes, there is something of this sort also happening, and we have to raise our voice against that. She's a lawyer by profession, and she's also a business entrepreneur in Chennai currently. She has practiced law in Kerala and Madras High Courts. She's also in BNI Forum. So welcome, Manju. Great. Thank you, Manju. I guess there is some net issue. I'm not able to listen to you. Great. And along with me, I have Ms. Shruti Mashru, Sanchita Gatak, Shahida Hussain, Rohini Natarajan, Nafisa Nazneen, and Kishore Kumar. All of them have been POSH enabled from First Step Institute, and they have been practicing POSH even before coming to First Step Institute. In fact, Shahida has been practicing POSH for 10 long years, and others are traveling this wonderful journey with me for past 1 year. And we are working as POSH consultants in various companies, and we are helping all the employees to be aware of what POSH is. So with this, I will hand over to Raina and Manju for taking further.
Thank you very much, Yashodai, and thank you very much, First Step Institute. I have with me Manju Matthews. Manju, do you want to say a word? It's a pleasure to have you as one more moderator and two of us moderating such lovely ladies here with one gentleman, Mr. Kishore Kumar, as well. We cannot avoid him because he's also an important part of First Step, and he has so beautifully welcomed all of us here. Thank you very much for that honor also. Manju, do you want to speak a few words, please?
Thank you, Raina. Such a wonderful introduction by Yashode. And I'm so glad to be here with the wonderful forum. Shruti, Dr. Sanchita, Rohini, Shahida, Nafisa, and Kishore with a great story. Let's see what is going to happen now.
Oh, I'm sure this is going to be interesting. So, Manju, just look forward. We have great speakers
Yes.
who are going to take over the entire flow with all the posh and all the issues, all the questions which our viewers have. And over to you, Nafisa. We have the first question coming to Nafisa Nazineen, who has also been a posh trainer with Yashodai and the First Institute. I would like to ask you, Nafisa, I have been listening to sexual harassment, a crime of morality and sexuality. Sexual harassment is a power play by man towards women, and lots more which we hear of man, women, man. Only women are harassed, or only men are sexual harassers, and many other myths, misconceptions, and lot of other questions which keep coming to my mind by many people. Here we want you to clarify what could be the different myths and facts on POSH with what you would want the viewers to know.
Sure. Thank you so much for the question, Raina Madam. And hello, everyone. I am Nafisa Nazneen, blessed to be mother of a smart son, wife to a loving, talented, handsome. Having a decade of working experience as a microbiologist, now turned a soft skill, life skill, corporate and public trainer, come speaker, and of course, a podcaster. I'm a podcaster as well, and I'm based out of Hyderabad. So your question is all regarding myths and facts, realities about Bosch, right? And I'm really thankful for giving me the opportunity today to speak with all the lovely people out there and have some one-to-one interaction as well. So focusing on the question, it's like, we have really, there are many myths about Posh, like whether it is gender biased, it is only meant for the ladies, I mean the women worker, what is a workplace, how we can segregate the things. So many types of questions it keeps on arising in the mind when a company approaches or wants to have a system set up for Posh in their organization. First of all, yes, this law was implemented somewhere in 2013, I guess, with the Vishaka thing. And then slowly it is, we can't say, yes, women are the victims of at the workplace, because earlier women were not so much into working, I mean professional world, but now with a lot many changes, women are stepping out of their home, and there are certain things that being women we need to take care of ourselves. And also the men have to change their way they see the women. Women, they are good with the household chores, and they are good with professional world as well. So that mindset is developing slowly. It has changed to a lot, and it will be furthermore. Now coming back to this myths, yes, posh is something which is basically originated because of women. It is meant for women, of course, but women are harassed not only by the male counterparts. Women can be sexually harassed by another woman as well. The world is changing, and there are so many cases like women harassed by another woman. Yes, that happens. So this is the first myth which has to be broken down, that uh, an aggrieved woman is not the one who is being harassed by a male counterpart. Women can be harassed by women. Second thing about this is, certain things are there that NGO plays an important role in the, as a member of the IC, like the committee setup which is there in a company for POSH, and their NGO has to play a role, and NGO has to be there to take care of it. So that is something not very much required. An outsider is a part of that group of POSH, or say committee of the POSH, because that person will be not a biased one. He or she will be observing the any of POSH cases as an outsider. He will or she will judge or have the opinion based on as a third person, right? So that is why it is always advisable to have an other person, the third person, not from the organization, but someone other from maybe NGO or somebody else who has got good knowledge about the sexual harassment concept. So that person is considered as a external committee member over here. Now coming to the concept of I have only 10 employees in my organization. Do I need to have a POSH committee? Of course, even if you have 2 or 3 employees, then also you have to go for POSH. POSH is more like a guideline. If you are an organization, you are working with male and female workers, then definitely you have to have a POSH committee in your organization. It does not matter how much number of employees are there, but if both genders are working, then definitely POSH committee has to be set up over there. So this is one myth. I mean, this is one truth which the people who are into, like, we do need to have POSH committee. This, yes, of course, you have to have a POSH committee in your office premises. Next, coming to workplace. What does workplace mean? I am working here, and an incident of POSH, I mean, case happened with me when I was traveling somewhere else. Now, this traveling was for official thing. I was traveling to some place because I have to attend that official meeting over there. So I am nowadays, office or workplace is not, is not a four-wall thing. It's not a premise. We can't sit in a one place and do our work. We have to travel. We have to attend conferences. We have to attend events and all. So a POSH thing is applicable to wherever you are going. You are moving because of your work, right? You are an employee.
I have a question for you. So when you are saying that sorry to interrupt on that, but I just wanted to understand. So as you're saying that they need to travel to different places, can I have this inquisitiveness that can actually POSH occur also with a person who's indirectly been harassed, or does it only have to be through physical touch, or does it have to be only through, can it be through maybe a stare or maybe a leer or something like that? I mean, people think only by physical touch it occurs. What do you
Yeah, see, yes, to some extent, staring, gazing, if we are not comfortable with that, you know, if myself being a lady, I'm not comfortable with a person who is continuously staring at me and, gazing at me, then of course, I'm not
I
comfortable. I
don't think
just
any lady should be comfortable with that. Don't you think so?
Yeah, yes, that's true. But then, first thing is that I should directly intervene that, and I'll say, speak up. Look, I'm not comfortable with that look. So if anything is wrong, then please let me know. If still that continues, then we can approach to the posh and let them handle the situation. Whether they will take up, I mean, how much the intensity is there, that way they can find out. If
That's
yes,
great.
if the yeah, that is what the
That's
posh committee.
wonderful
That is
insights,
why.
Nafisa. That's amazing. I think
Thank you.
our viewers are so carried away with all your inputs, and these are really good inputs that you have shared. You
Thank you,
have
ma'am.
anything more in terms of any grave myth you still are yet to approach, so we can give that as well quickly to them.
So far, I have this much. We'll
Okay,
have
good.
some others.
Awesome, viewers. So
Thank you.
if you have any other myths, you can always put it on the chat, and I'm sure our lead speaker will let you know if that's a myth or not. But with
Yeah,
the
sure.
same
Thank
thought
you.
process, thank you so much, Nafisa. We are bringing in Yashodai to also tell us, what do you think would be the different kinds of sexual harassment? Now that we know that it may be, it's a myth that it doesn't happen only with physical touch, and then at workplace we feel that it's only at office and not maybe on the way back or traveling or things which Nafisa has clarified. What do you think, Yashodai, is the types of sexual harassment? Do you want to enable our
Yes.
viewers on that?
Yes, Raina. So, as you rightly put up, maybe the one aspect of harassment has already been touched by Nafisa. That was like non-verbal contact. Okay. So, when I say non-verbal contact, it involves all the text messages that I'm sending over WhatsApp or over any cyber that any cyber account that's over there. Okay, so even staring or I mean, I'm not directly coming to you, touching you. Okay, or even I'm not talking to you, but just I'm staring you, or I'm writing something which will make you uncomfortable. Okay, so those kinds of non-verbal harassments are also a type of harassment. So basically there are 5 types of harassments: verbal, non-verbal, physical, quid pro quo, and hostile environment. So everybody understands about physical harassment very well. And again, it's a myth that only physical harassment comes under POSH. So it's not so. There are still more issues that are related to the harassment that can be considered as that can be considered under POSH. So we spoke about physical harassment and non-verbal. So verbal harassment would be any sarcastic comment based on sex, religion, caste, or it can be based on sexuality or racism based on your country, or it can be any such obscene comment. Okay, that again harms the harmony of the team, or that wherein the girl feels very demotivated, very depressed by just hearing the comment that's being passed on her. So even that can be a kind of harassment that can be taken into account. Then quid pro quo, it comes into picture when manager tries to tell the girl or tries to tell uh, employees that I can give you a promotion, I can give you a salary hike, but on one condition: you have to abide by what I'm saying, or you have to do me a sexual favor. So when such favors are put up, when such favors are asked in return of some I mean some benefits that can be given in workplace, that is known as quid pro quo. And when girls are very strong, very bold, very courageous, and they just straightly object to this, okay, what happens then? There is a hostile environment that is created for them. Okay, so either all the employees around her starts talking between both the managers and the girl. They start linking up they start telling some rumors. Okay, or manager can give her so much pressure. He can also demotivate her in her work. He can also depromote her. Okay, these are all the various ways in which a hostile environment can be created for a girl who refuses to do a sexual favor. So yes, Raina, these were the 5 types of harassment that can also happen. And all my viewers, if you come across any simple harassment also, okay, please tell no to the person who is harassing you. Be strong. And if they are not listening to you, then definitely there's an IC committee to help you on this case. Over to you.
Wonderful. They were wonderful inputs. Yashodai, in fact, a friend of mine just came up 3 days back and she was asking me, I've been discriminated on color, Rena. So does that come under POSH? What do you have to say on that?
Yes, it definitely comes under POSH. So, I mean, straight away, she need not go and complain to POSH, but then she can tell to the boy that, see, I'm not comfortable with the way you're talking to me. So, please don't talk in these means, because intention is not important, but the impact is very important. The way it was taken by the girl, that's very important. For instance, uh, it might be very common in your culture to say that, hey, you're looking sexy. Okay, but when you address this kind of comment to a girl from village or to a girl from down south, that's it, gone. So her entire work is being stopped, and I mean, there are lots of emotions that goes on into her mind. So she'll not be able to concentrate or do any take any further step. So you have to be very careful. You have to be very sensitive to the culture from which your employee is coming while passing any comments. So yes, Raina, these are my
Wonderful. Oh my God, I'm dark in color. Oh my God, they keep calling me thin, black, sexy, hot babe. Am I aggrieved? What is aggrieved woman, Rohini?
If some harassment case happened, the female victim, we call her as aggrieved women. Aggrieved women, she could be a direct employee, or she could be a contract employee, or she could be a daily wages labor. Yeah, and she could be a person who just went to that office premises just to attend the interview. Even she could be an aggrieved woman. Unfortunately, if she has gone through the harassment. An apprentice, Yashode said, like, if the office is set up with only male employees, then why should we need POSH? So if there is a tea shop nearby, a lady is coming to the office to serve tea to all the male staffs. Unfortunately, she's going through some harassment every day. She can also raise complaint through POSH committee. So she will also be considered as aggrieved women. So
Thank you. That clarifies a lot about this aggrieved woman. So where does this aggrieved woman go? Sanchita, can you give us the difference between what is IC, what is LC? I get just confused. So many committees. Where do I really go? What is IC? What is LC? Sanchita ma'am, you're on mute, please. Yeah.
Thank you, Raina, for this question. Yes, this is very important, because once we come to know that, okay, this lady is an aggrieved woman, now she should understand as to where to go for complaining. See, we have 2 different types of committees. One is your internal complaint committee, that is your ICC. Every employer of a workplace shall constitute by an order in the writing, and the committee that is there is called Internal Complaint Committee, and this is according to Section 4 of 1 of the Act. Now this internal committee has to be located in the workplace only, where the offices or administrative unit of the workplace are located. Like, for example, if an organization has 4 different branches, it is not necessary that it will be located in every divisional area, but it has to be located in the administrative block of the office. That is under Section 4 of 1 Act. Now the second question of this is who all will be there in the internal complaint committee, because people like the ladies, they do not feel very empowered to go and talk to the people. See, this has happened with me. So the internal complaint committee will be constituted by a presiding officer, and she has to be a very senior level woman employee. There will be members, not less than 2, and again preferably women, because all these cases are related to specially women, and POSH is meant for women workforce specially. So it has to be a woman, like 1 or 2 women, and they should have experience in social work and have legal knowledge as well. So probably 1 or 2 attorney in the place. And then a member from non-governmental organization or associated who has to be very familiar with the in relation to the sexual harassment. So so this is more than half of the people will be constituted in the committee as women. So a woman will feel secured and safe to go and complain there. Now, the second thing that you asked was, you were talking about LC. Yes, LC is Local Complaint Committee. And a local complaint committee will be constituted outside the organization. Now, one of our members told that it has to be minimum 10 people to have a POSH committee there, internal complaint committee. But if there are less than 10 workers, then there is no internal complaint committee. So where will they go and complain? So it has to be a local complaint committee where it has to be there. And this is according to the law and the act given in section 6.1. Now the jurisdiction of this will be in a district, and again in this local complaint committee also there will be a chairperson, preferably a woman and very eminent woman in the field of social work, member who will be nominated amongst the women working in the block, or maybe the taluk, or maybe the tehsil, or maybe the ward or the municipality of that district. 2 other members will also be there who will be from a non-governmental organization. Same as IC, they should be related to sexual harassment, person who should be related to sexual harassment, and they should have clear-cut understanding of what exactly, what are the background and legal background and everything. 2 women shall be from SC, ST and OBC minority community also. Members from ex-officio members are also to be there, and the concerned officer dealing with the social welfare and women and child development in the district. So this is the constitution of LC and IC, and just to summarize it, LC is constituted outside the organization and IC is constituted inside the organization. So
Yes.
that's it, Raina. I think
I'll like to add on a point here. So while you are telling about the composition of the internal committee, so we also have a few men as part of the committee members, because that forum should not be a biased one. Okay, the men who is a respondent, he should not feel that it's a biased committee and where will my voice be heard. So for that reason, 30% of the committee should be men. So that is one point. And about the local committee, it should be formed by every district collector in his district. That is a mandatory stuff. Yes, over to you, Raina.
Yes, so that was a valid point. Ideally, the percentage of the women should be 70%, and at least 1 or more people in terms of men should be there, so that there is a non-judgmental or a unbiased decision made whenever we have any situation of mediation or an inquiry being set. So that's a very valid point. Thank you very much for adding that, Yashodai, with Dr. Sanchita Gata. It was a very comprehensive explanation of IC and LC. I'm sure the viewers have got a lot of value. Thank you so much. So going ahead with that, I had one more thing ringing in my mind, and that's for Shahida ma'am. Are you ready, Shahida?
Yes.
what could you think could be the measures the IC takes place during investigation? Because IC is now a very eminent part of our company, like Sanchita has already mentioned. So this IC has to take in some preventive measures for our investigations to go flawlessly well. So what could be these measures? And second part of your question would be that when will the police intervene in all this? Or when will police be involved in any posh case, if so?
Yes, thank you so much for the question. It's very important to understand that ICC and LCC, they get the power of a civil court. That is, they can ask for third-party evidence, evidence from third party, or ask witnesses to come and appear before it in connection to the investigation of the said case. And it is indeed, as you have rightly said, very, very empowered committee in the organization. But saying this, the ICC also needs to have its stand in a correct manner. So I will say that, ICC needs to be unbiased to start off. Kishore said, she said something, he said something. In this kind of stance, it needs to start with an open and a white sheet. There should be no characters assassination, or there should be no thing that will come in because of performance, that she is a good performer, bad performer. All these things should be taken out when an investigation is, and all these biases are out. And as Nafisa has very rightly said, this act is of course for women, but it's very important to understand it is not against men. So all people involved needs to be given their respect, and nobody is guilty unless proven. And even the terms are very, very respectful, the aggrieved woman and the respondent. So the act itself gives a lot of respect to the people involved. Number one. Number two, the aggrieved woman. Of course, she's in the most vulnerable position here, but ICC also needs to have that check and be sensitive and understand by any chance the allegations are not malicious. I've come across cases where a relationship of mutual consent has gone sour and somebody has decided to play a victim card. So all this sensitivity needs to be taken care of by the ICC. And in fact, the act also lists down the actions to be taken by the committee in case the complaint is found to be malicious or it's wrong, against the men. And talking about the respondent, the ICC needs to sensitize him that in no way he will be coming in the way of the investigation. No way he will be getting in touch with the aggrieved woman, the complainant, or in touch with the witness, or have any kind of pressure on them. This is completely no, and ICC needs to put these things in order before the investigation happens. It needs to sensitize everybody involved here. Even the witnesses, when we talk to the witnesses, we said it's a very, very sensitive matter, and these things cannot go out. That usne ye kiya, isne kiya, no, nothing on those sides. These are within the room of ICC, and it will remain here. And you cannot talk about it to anybody, not even the people who are involved. So these are basic things that I would, I would say that ICC needs to take care. And one, again, I repeat at the cost of repetition, it should be a performance or rating unbiased, neutral investigation. It is about two people and not about what position or role they hold. That's
wonderful. So nice points, Shahida. I think I'll add one more thing there, which I remember is that the law very clearly iterates also one important thing, that it says audi alteram partem, which means that you have to hear both the cases well, or hear both parties well. And both parties have to be heard with equal hearing to each of them, without getting into the judgmental thing, what you said, like getting into the biases of who is the victim or not, because yet they are only as respondent and aggrieved. They are not a perpetrator or a victim yet, till they are proven. And secondly, we also say that they can't be they cannot be a person running their own case, because at that emotional state of mind, whether you are a victim or not, both parties are having a lot of emotional flow going through. So when emotional flows are there, it is quite pertinent that you feel people always looking down on you, whether you have committed a crime or not. So it is important that these two philosophies, or these two acts, principles of natural justice, what they have been called, each of our legal practitioners follow it as of what we have been teaching everybody in terms of POSH. So I hope that is also an important thing which our viewers can know. But very valuable points. Thank you for sharing, Shahida. And with this, I would like to invite our next moderator, Miss Manju Matthew,
Raina,
to
before
take over.
that,
Yeah.
just a minute. So there was a second question to Shahida.
Oh yes, the
on
police one.
police
Yes,
one.
yes. Please address that, Shahida ma'am.
Yeah. Though we follow the ICC LCC pattern, and only then we keep it open for police. But any point of the case investigation, a lady wants to approach police, as ICC members, we do not stop it. In fact, we take help. We encourage her and we support her. And secondly, we may also take help from police in case we need help from third party or we need help from any other thing. So police is a party to this investigation and is a support here. That is my understanding.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I think the police law and order is always in support of both parties, and who is the aggrieved man or woman, they are there to support both of them. Thank you. Thank you for addressing that, and thank you for bringing it.
Add it. Many a time I see ladies like to go. Many a time they also do not like to go. They trust the ICC more. So it's
Absolutely
on the lady what she wants to do. We are there to support.
Because the ICC is more non-judgmental. That is why they approach the ICC first. We are giving them that space of being unbiased. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you, Yashodai, for addressing the second part of the question for us. Yes. So here we go ahead with inviting our next moderator. All over to you, Manju Matthew. I'm sure that it's all your reins now. Thank you so much for having me once more, Yashodai, in First Institute. And yes, Manju, you can take in the next loop.
Thank you, Reina. It was a wonderful, answering by all the speakers here. Now that, we came to know what is POSH through four of you, that why it is important and how the procedures, IC, LC. So overall about the POSH, about the, aggrieved woman, respondent. So we understood what is POSH. So my question is to you, Shruti. Don't you think that it is biased towards women?
Nice question. A lot is already said by Shahida, and Raina also added her points to it. So a simple thing I would say, Constitution of India itself says right to equality. So when it is right to equality and that's a base of POSH, how can one law go against the other law? It definitely cannot be biased. So by law, it is not biased. A lot of people, however, may feel that it is biased. But then let us understand why POSH was formed in the first place. There were so many talented girls, ladies, who were not allowed to step out of the house for the simple fear that what if somebody harasses her? Hamare ghar ki izzat ka sawal hai. That was always there at the back of the mind. They are not wrong. I don't challenge them. Everybody wants to protect their family members. Fair enough. But ever since POSH has become very active and people have more and more awareness of POSH, they are more comfortable. People back at home feel very secured. And so does the woman. That, there is law that takes care of her rights, of her feelings, and stops people from taking undue advantage of her. Having said that, if somebody thinks that because POSH is meant for the protection of women, because essentially it is prevention of sexual harassment and it is meant for to protect women, let us understand POSH, and as IC committee, we are empathetic towards the aggrieved woman, not sympathetic. There is a whole lot of difference between the two. So we do have empathy, but sheer fact that she comes from one gender, it is not that we would support her. There is a proper investigation that happens. We've understood by all the eminent speakers that spoke here that the investigation goes so deep. It goes fast in compared to how it is done otherwise. But when we approach POSH, the results come out in just about 90 days. The case is closed. So the entire investigation is done so fast, but again, it is kept confidential so that she feels comfortable. And at the same time, the respondent also is not harassed that way because nobody gets to know what's happening. It's kept confidential. Having said that also, I would say that if at any point in time, the IC committee understands that it was a malicious case and the evidences were again compromised on or adduced to avail favorable orders, then ICC may recommend to take action against a complainant as per the applicable service rules of the employer. It can go up to the extent that the same penalty or the same punishment which otherwise a respondent would have got if he was accused, the same could be imposed on the aggrieved woman who's made that choice of taking it to the posh, just because she thinks that she is a woman and she can get away very easily and the law will be biased. Then let me say it will not be. She better be ready for the consequences. If she has forged her evidences or if it's a malicious complaint, then law is equal for everybody, and by constitution of law we believe in law of equality, and thereby it is non-biased.
Thank you, Shruti. That was quite informative and interesting. Now that we know that, like, Posh is not biased towards women, so we should, hear from a man, right? What does he think, whether they are harassed? Okay, I think Kishore is the right person to answer that. What do you say, Kishore?
Very true, very true. Started the question, understood the question. Because men normally, that is what, see, poor people, yeah, men, because they're getting harassed at home by wife. Sometimes what happens is one of my neighbor, during this rainy season, Chennai was witnessing a very big flood in the past 2 days. There was a crack, in one of my neighbor, he had a big fight. I asked him, what is the problem you and your wife was fighting? He said, you sure there was a crack, in between my house, so immediately my wife called up, a mason, and she was just doing the alteration work. I asked my wife, why do you want to do it so quickly? The wife very sarcastically, she answered, there should be only one crack in the house. There should not be two cracks. Actually, she was actually referring to her husband. So that person got so irritated and they started fighting. So this is what is happening in most of the houses. If you see, once I was being told this story. There was a husband and wife who always keeps fighting, where the wife takes the entire earnings of the husband and she locks it, put it in the locker, and she doesn't give the money. So what happened is, one night, as they were in the deep sleep, in the middle of the night, suddenly a thief barged in the house. So once when he barged in the house, the thief was busy searching for the keys. Suddenly the husband, he woke up and he just closed the mouth of the thief and he said, don't shout. I know you're searching for the keys of the cupboard, right? Where the money is there. I know, I'll tell you, come here, come with me, he said. See, it's there in the purse of my wife, in my wife's handbag, just take the keys. Then the husband said, chavi number 33, it has got, put that and you can take 3,000. Or chavi number 40 hai, oh, udhar mein bhi 5,000 hai. So all put together 8,000 is there. You just give me 3,000 and you take the 5,000. Immediately the thief just took it and he asked him, why are you you're such a good person? He said, no, that is the problem. I've been very good, but my wife is not at all understanding my expenses and she's taking all the money. Now the thief, felt so sad for this husband. He said, I'll give you all the 8,000, you have it. And you have the keys also. The husband asked, why you want to give me everything? He said, I have so many houses to rob, yeah, but you are such a pathetic husband. You can be husband only to this one house. So you keep all these money. I look out for my fortune in some other place. He just gave and he went off. So this is what happens, my dear friends. Men are actually being harassed everywhere, also equally, verbally, psychologically, mentally, all these things. Sexually, very few of us are getting harassed. That's different. Even women also harassed. Why I'm telling this is happening. And very important thing I want to say, men's psychology. Men get panicked, when they see lot of women, together. See, that is what is happening even in this webinar. See, why I'm not switching on the camera? Because I don't want you all to see me. I don't want all of you to, I also don't want all of you to see at the same time.
It's a
So
lame
this
excuse.
is psychology.
Please switch on your video. It's a lame excuse. Switch on your video. We would like to see the face which has given so much of story.
I do not know. Maybe that will also become posh. See, that is what I'm trying to say. Always, like I think Shahida, like she very correctly she said, please give the equal opportunity to men also. Because most of the time, I've seen it in many, in my college, I've seen, a teacher, when he gives a less mark to a student, a professor, when he gives a less mark to a student, immediately the student keeps saying, sir, she goes and complains saying that, this person is expecting something out of the way. These kinds of things are coming. And not every woman loves posh, because, in my institute, I don't want to tell the name of the college where I'm working. There was a posh committee. So initially, girls were very fussy and they were so happy to, give a complaint on posh. So over a period of time, boys, the entire boys, they were all scared and did not talk to the girls. all girls together. They said, we don't want posh in the college. We'll handle the boys by ourselves, they said. And they are doing it. See, why I'm trying to say is women have to understand. We have to educate our women participants. Posh should be like a weapon. A weapon is something we have to use it only when it is required. We cannot take a gun and we cannot keep firing every time. Posh is a weapon. Okay, so use the weapon when it is required. Otherwise, please do not use it unnecessarily. That is very, very important. Thank you very much. Over to you, madam.
Kishore, that was a quite interesting one, and I think we should call you as a story man. And you narrate everything so nicely with the stories. It was quite interesting and very good. And we also feel sympathy towards men also. But as we discussed, Porsche is a weapon, as you said. That is really true. And I think as a woman in anywhere, should be educated how to use it, so that there should not be any confusions, as he said, they are using against women, men. So nothing should happen that sort. So everybody should be in workplace, everybody should be properly educated about Posh, which is a foremost important thing. And I was just wondering, Yashodai, I was just wondering, okay. So, as you said, this many people should be there in a company, and it's compulsory that Posh should be there. What if a company doesn't have a Posh committee?
Yes. So there is a serious
And yeah,
penalty. Yes, go ahead, Manju. Finish your question.
yeah, and what would be the penalty for that? These are the two doubts.
Yes, yes. It is a mandate that when you have 10 employees or more than 10, you have to form a Posh committee. But then our managers and our business owners are so smart. They'll say that we have only a limited number of employees, and whatever issue that happens within our organization, it stays within our organization, and we can tackle it very well. Okay, that is how various management feels. But then the fact is, women can be harassed even out of the organization when they are in some official trip, or when they are visiting their customers, or even when they are speaking to their clients. Okay, so all such things, few women may not be very comfortable taking this up to HR or taking up this to the management directly. So in such case, if you have an exclusive committee that can speak about Posh, that can make people aware about what are the various kinds of issues that are being tackled by Posh, and how a Posh committee can help a woman who is seriously affected. So if this system can be in place, definitely lots of issues can be uh, taken care properly. Okay, so this is my sincere request to all the viewers. If your company doesn't have Posh, please reach out to any of us here. Okay, we would be sharing our contact details, and we would also be sharing the city from which we are, so that if you are in need of any Posh awareness training or any Posh consultancy, you can reach out to us. And the second part of the question, what would be the penalty if you don't have Posh? Okay, first major penalty, I mean, leave the rules and leave the laws. Okay, so apart from rules and laws, the major thing that will happen to your company, if there is a Posh case identified, okay, the brand name is getting damaged. Okay, you have been building the brand for your company and the image for your company for so long, and one petty case that comes out, one petty issue that happens in within your organization creates a big buzz, and entire brand is damaged. Okay, that is the first thing that will happen to you immediately. And from the law, uh, when a case is being reported, and if they found that first committee is not formed in the company, then you will be fined up to 50,000. Second time any case is reported, you will be fined double the amount. Okay, it will be up to 1 lakh. And third time, if you refuse to follow the law and there is any non-compliance, okay, it's not only formation of the committee, but then when it comes to non-compliance, if you try to manipulate any of the reports submitted by the IC committee, or if you try to put some pressure on the IC committee or the external member, in favor of the respondent, or if you tell the if you tell the details of the case that is discussed within the IC committee outside. So these can be the various non-compliance that can happen. So any of these non-compliance if found. Finally, the third penalty would be your trade license can be cancelled. So we don't want this to happen to our beloved viewers who are there. So if you don't have a POSH committee, or if there is no POSH awareness program that's happening in your company, then you can surely reach out to us. So my request to all the trainers over here, if you feel comfortable, you can share your number and the city from which you are. So otherwise, I'll also be sharing the First Step Institute contact and the number so that they can directly reach out to us. Okay. Viewers, we have trainers across India, say in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, and also Hyderabad. I've also told we also, yes, Chennai. I missed our own city. So Chennai is the seventh city in which we have our POSH members. So apart from this, we also have known sources who are POSH consultants in various cities. So if you are some company who have branches across India, yes, the one-stop solution would be First Step Institute, and you have all the committees, all the trainings, and all the external members being placed by just one connection, that is First Step Institute. So I would like to give my contact at this point, then I'll hand over to Manju for the rest of the proceedings. So I'm Yashodai Damodaran, founder and director of First Step Institute, POSH and FOXO consultant, having 12 plus years of experience in IT and training industry. My contact number is 8754493216. Yes, Manju, over to you.
Thank you, Yashodai. So now that we came to know a lot of information about POSH, is there anything else we need to discuss, panelists? Did we miss anything?
Yeah. Even transgenders, they come under POSH. That's very important, which we should always make it a point, because transgenders, still the confusion, whether they should be add them, but they are actually in POSH.
So transgenders who identify themselves as women, so they can be an aggrieved women if anything happens to them. Yes. And as I told earlier, if any of the consultants over here would like to share the city from which they are and the contact that they should be received, if you're comfortable, you can share it here.
Sure. Hi, I'm Shahida Hussain. I'm based out of Calcutta, and my contact details are 91633-92805.
Great. Thanks, Shahida.
Hi, I'm Shruti Mashru. I'm based out of Hyderabad, and you can reach me by mail, shrutimashru, SRUTIMASHRU @gmail.com.
Dr. Sanchita?
Yeah, I'm Dr. Sanchita. I'm based out in Lucknow. You can mail me for any details at info.careergroomers, CAREERGROOMERS, careergroomers @gmail.com. That is my company. We are a company into training, development, career counseling, guidance, and lot other. But related to POSH, you can definitely get in touch with me at the given email ID. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Reina?
I'm Mrs. Reina Khatri Tandon, the founder of Right to Rise, RKT Foundation, and Act to Inspire. We do work into POSH, FOXO, human rights, and stress. So we are there on Yashodai's platform. If there's something, you can always reach out to us. We have our website, www.righttorise.in. I do not share my contact numbers on social media like that. You can contact us on email. It's rkt@righttorise.in. If there's anything, you can please put it on the email box. There will be somebody to attend to it. Thank you so much.
Which city are you from, Reina?
I'm from Mumbai.
Mumbai,
I'm from
okay.
Mumbai, but we cater to pan-India services. Thank you.
Okay, that's nice. Rohini, can you? explain about yourself?
Yes. Hi, this is Rohini from Madurai, Tamil Nadu, and I would like to do this post consultation along with Yashodai through First Step Institute. So, Yashodai, your contact has already been given, right? So
Yes,
we
yes.
can work together.
Great.
Okay, that was nice. And Nafisa, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am Nafisa. I'm based out of Hyderabad. So if anybody, I am into training already. So apart from POSH, I do life skill and soft skill corporate training. So if anybody wants to contact me, you can put you can inbox me at Nafisa NAFISA .meet MEET @gmail.com. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Kishore?
Friends, so thank you very much. I'm Kishore Kumar, a disaster management trainer. I've done training on disaster management and I've also done training in POSH. So I'm a trainer, a full-time trainer with First Step Institute. So anytime you can get in touch with First Step so that, I'm there, Pan India. Thank you very much.
Okay, that was quite interesting. I think Pan India we are all from. That's quite interesting from every nook and corner, like, we have covered full India. And
We add everybody. We don't go
yeah,
Pan.
yes, yes. So Pan India services, people get avail from all of
Someone
us.
asks me in Mumbai, I'll say Raina Madam is there. If someone
Yes,
asks me
yes.
in Hyderabad, I'll say Shruti Madam Unnaru. There.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. And last but not least, myself, Manju Matthew. I'm based out of Chennai. And anytime you can contact me, even Pan India, I can support through First Step Institute for POSH consultant. And my contact number is 9150 390 233. Thank you. Yes, Yashodai, over to you.
Yes. Thanks all for giving your wonderful time and support for the First Step Institute and for sensitizing people on a very, 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 very serious issue, POSH, prevention of sexual harassment at workplace. This is also applicable for higher institutions and schools as well. Okay, so any organization that has adult employees, okay, over there it is important to have POSH committee and POSH awareness program. So I have written a small ebook named Unprotected Environment, Unspoken Topic and Unheard Voice. So that talks about what, why, when and how of POSH. So if anybody wants to have all these details that we spoke in a written format, you can sign up to the website Learn with You. That is LearnWithYo. Learn with You dot nourish KNORISH.com. So log into this, sign up to this, and from courses, just buy POSH awareness program that is available to you free of cost. So this is in a mission to spread the knowledge of POSH to entire India and make India POSH free. Not POSH free. Make India sexual harassment free by 2030. That is a mission all of us are carrying out here, and I'm sure with all the work that we are all doing, definitely we can see a great India by 2030. So this was from my end, and thanks again to all the viewers for supporting us and being with us for such a long time. And thanks to all the panelists and wonderful moderators for making this session very spicy thing, not a simple question and answer session, but a sensitive question and answer session with lots of your own inputs as well. So with this, we would be ending this Facebook Live.
Thank you so much, Yashodai, for having us here.
Thank you, Yashodai.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raina and Matt.